Ready?
I think so. Is it going, is it?
It is going.
Oh, you got... That's adorable.
How about the beginning? Start at the
How
beginning.
about the beginning? Beginning of the shoot?
Day
beginning
one.
Of the movie.
Day one.
Day one.
Day one of the shoot.
Which was, I'm going to say, not ideal for you. You were never actually that chuffed about it, were you?
Starting on the Steadicam day and the tracks thing. I don't know. Was I? I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember being in the office and working with Henry and Guy and Seb, and we were trying to figure out the last pieces to the schedule. It's like a big puzzle, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it kind of came down to like these two sticky days where it was either the park where Dave would have to ride a motorbike, which he wasn't ready for, or the track. And just because of all the other reasons, like the pub will only let you film on a Tuesday or such and such, like it was either one of those two that had to go first. I think I probably made the decision to do the track first because for Dave's sake. And I don't think you were there for that particular discussion. And I remember you like coming in and seeing that it moved. And just being like,
It's shifted. It is what it is. Everything had to fit somehow. I do remember it was quite a sight to see all the trucks and catering and everything all on that road.
in a line.
Yeah. Like a travelling circus that had just set off on its journey.
How did you feel like first day compared to anything we'd done previously? Were you more nervous or more relaxed then?
I think I was all right. I don't remember being particularly nervous, but I think I was more worried that maybe we'd started in the wrong place. The beginning of the scene starts with Steve and Dennis arriving at the track, and then they go down and they see Tom Budden, whatever his name is.
Kevin.
Candles. So that's the first half of the scene, and then they're walking away, and then the kid comes on the bike to catch
That's the
up
bit
with
we
them.
shot first.
We shot that first. That was just because of the position of the sun. It was just a little bit. It was going to look a little bit nicer later on for the big reveal shot. But then the weather wasn't looking good anyway, and in the morning there was just some really nice kind of texture in the sky looking that way, and I was like, oh damn, like maybe we should get this big Steadicam shot out of the way first. But hey, it's fine.
It was nervous, like for me, just meeting everybody. There was like obviously it was one of the bigger crews that day. It was like 50 people, something like that, wasn't it? 40, 50 people. I hadn't met everybody, so I was hoping that you were having a good day. I was like, I hope Adam's on form today, so he can carry me through this day. I was just raring to get going, and I did feel more relaxed than I had been on all the short films, maybe, just because for the first time a certain degree of it was kind of out of our control now, and it was other
or it's
people.
been taken care of by other
Yeah. It felt like there was a lot on my plate because it was all quite bike centric, and I had my dad there, my brother there, and I thought like I have to be quite conscious of where those bikes are going to be and how they need to be ridden and all that stuff. So things that are slightly outside of what you'd probably normally have to do as a director. We always said that it would have been great if we maybe had like another camera, or we had more time to hoover up some better shots of the bikes, just close-ups, stuff of them like whizzing around, and
100% like a second camera to like get some low-angle shots of them, like them jumping over the dirt mounds and stuff, which look really cool. Yes, the story does come first, and like you've got to make a film that works, but at the same time you need to sell a movie as well. We
did run over a bit on day one, which was like new territory for us, I thought, like, because from the shorts and managing our own time and doing our own films, I've never had anybody say it's time to stop now. It's like, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's time to grow up.
Time to grow up. People have
Can't
lives,
go on forever.
Well, they have to go home.
Because of the rain and delays, we did go over a little bit. But then, I guess there's just, the crew hasn't got into any flow yet. Not everybody knows each other, so you want to
keep them on side.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably one of our better days in terms of rehearsal and blocking. The first day.
Yeah, it was.
And then after that, I never quite felt like I got as much time as I needed to really figure things out before the camera was down.
Yeah.
So it was just a bit odd that was a good day for rehearsing and stuff like that.
Took our time, I guess, to work it out. Obviously had a Steadicam operator, Marcus there. It was a lot about communicating with him about what the idea was and walking through it and rehearsing and you know, rather than the other days where there'd be this pressure to just get a camera down and a lens on the camera, and that became problematic, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely towards the first sort of half of the shoot, but we got it together towards the end. So yeah, it's kind of day one.
It's kind of day one, yeah. Day two was firing on all cylinders as well. It was pretty busy at the pub. Yeah, that was like the first day, interior scene, lots of extras. There were a lot of quite big days that were packed into that first week, right? We were on the move a lot.
It was, yeah, full of like small stunty stuff, so like ice cream man being dragged out of his van.
Complicated stuff.
Factory stuff. Punch up in the car park.
Yes.
All this stuff. It was a really busy week. I mean, on the third day, I think we did like 2 moves, you know? So we were at the Queen's Garage in the No, it was the second thing we did, wasn't it? So we were at the garages with on the estate, and then we were around the corner to the bike garage, and then we went to Richie's flat.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like doing 3 locations in one day.
They were day exteriors, so they're, you know, it's a little bit.
And a cheeky little night, a fake night.
Yeah, day
We
for
made the
night.
tunnel, draped the 2 sides.
That was all pre-lit, so when we got there, it was already set for like a night state where we had entered the doorway at the back of the flat.
Garage was a good location, I enjoyed that. It was nice to show off so many bikes in one spot. Felt like maybe after the track, like it would have been great if we'd had a couple more bikes. But it's so hard organising these things and getting them there when it's basically just 2 or 3 of you trying to do it for free. You know, you need people in a van, and it's a lot of logistics that go into it. And I felt that made up for it a little bit. Like I like being able to show people lots of goodies.
Yeah.
And I thought like having, I don't know how many bikes we had at the front, maybe like 8 or 9 bikes at the front of that garage, and we did get the wide shot in, which worked really well, and it just again like sells it. And it's early in the story, so it's like bedding in. People are buying into the story, and they're like, what's the word? You're suspending your disbelief, getting into it. So it was good. I enjoyed that. Nice track shot and stuff. Kept it simple.
It's a great location.
Yeah.
Looks good. The building looks really old. So did the garage location as well. That backdrop of the estate.
It's brilliant, wasn't it?
Remember when we scouted that? It was like, ooh. You know, this is
was
like the fence world.
Yeah, that was a real pain, because it's one of the few locations in the short that was really good. Like people would comment on it and say, oh, the garage location's great, because as you swing around the corner, it goes off a hill and you see the estate. So people thought that was a really cool location, and I really wanted to try and find a match, but I couldn't find any garages on hills that like
Overlooked an estate.
offered the same thing, and finding that was brilliant. There was a hiccup with the exact garage. Like
I think that changed, didn't it? Or something?
Kind of changed twice, I think. I think we had initially agreed on with one owner, and then not too late in the day they said, oh, I can't do it. Then we had another garage, and then that one changed, like, was it the day before or something? So we had planned that out quite a bit on paper anyway, where the track was going to go and where the cameras were going to go, and then we had to stay up the night before after the previous day's shooting to rejig it, because it was
that new garage.
Yeah, because now the van would have to pull up in a slightly different place and whatnot, to account for the fact that now we were a few doors down. Yeah, but it worked out in the end.
I like that we stay with Steve and track with him. I think that's all really good. And great moment with Richie and the keys.
Yeah,
that's a really cool moment. What we did initially was shoot inside the garage first thing, because the sun was coming into the garage. So to take advantage of that light, I think we shot the garage bit first, inside, did all that stuff. And then by the time the sun had disappeared round and there was no more light getting in, we moved out to do the whole ice cream van bit and getting into the garage. So it was yeah, that's how it was structured.
Definitely one of those scenes that was improved on from the short. There's a lot of
Yeah,
that. There's
yeah.
quite a lot of that in planning where we were thinking, okay, there are a bunch, maybe 10 or 15 scenes that are lifted directly from the short, and we were asking ourselves, do we do them? Do we try and just do them the same? Like, do we the same amount of shots, same kind of angles, or do we just throw what we did at the window previously and just start from scratch?
Yeah.
And I think on almost all of them we just started from scratch, really.
Yeah.
And sometimes that was led by the fact that the locations were quite different.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge regarding that was probably the Charlie Bourne multiple sequences. So the arrival, the first kind of altercation at the door, and then the scrap in the garden. Because, I mean, that's kind of a series of like 4 or 5 scenes back to back. But it was something that worked quite well in the short, particularly the front stuff. Maybe not so much the back stuff, but we were a bit stuck, and it took a long time to decide on a location for that, right?
Yeah, I couldn't find anything.
Initially, I just pressed copy paste. I just
Dragged the scene from the original short film into that, but it had to be different because it was a different place, the location. You couldn't shoot it the same way, and it was a very restricting place to shoot because you had the Pickett's house directly opposite it.
Yeah.
Quite obviously, so you had to be careful not to show that.
Had to hide it, yeah.
And then behind, and then across the other side of the road, it was all modern cars, and we didn't show any of that stuff. So it was quite hard to shoot that
Yeah,
scene.
you had very kind of limited field of view. Another location like the garages where I searched and searched and searched for ages. When we sort of reluctantly decided that this was the best option, because it was more or less the only option we had, we did a recce.
Go for it. Sorry.
Yeah.
And there was a group of young lads just wondering what we were doing. We just asked if they wanted to stand in as actors.
Yeah. This was very close to shooting.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
It must be just because
It was very
so,
close.
So dark.
It was. It's because it was late at night. It's because it was like probably like 9 o'clock.
And you were like, Will, can we please go down to the thing and figure this out?
And plot this out.
Like, oh, all right. Even though I know it's the right thing to do, I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And we got these like 4 or 5 just random kids to just block out this scene, but they were well up for it. And,
Yeah, pretty good.
And it was almost like shot for shot, like exactly what we did. And
Better than the film.
Yeah, one of the kid playing standing in for Steve was really good, wasn't
Giving
it?
Dave a run
I
for
was
his
like,
money.
I was like, oh, if Dave starts giving me a load of this, and I got to bin him off, then I'll go find this kid.
Oh, what? I'm not doing anything. What?
We shot that whole thing handheld initially, which, again, going back to us discussing, do we do it like the short? Are we trapped by how we've already previously done scenes? We decided that we would kind of go against the grain and specifically do that scene differently. So there's a whole handheld version of that confrontation. And then after lunch, I just said, I don't think it's not working for me.
Well, I think we came to that conclusion.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah. So I'm not saying I just completely decided.
Well, I think
you were like,
implying,
I'm thinking the same.
You're implying that.
And then you concurred. And we're like, yes, I agree. I think you're right. It's what I've been thinking too. I'm just a genius. Our editor, Simon, loved it because he loves a bit of handheld stuff. And I think you did like footage, didn't you?
Yeah. I think it would have been easier to shoot. Found it really hard with the gimbal, to get the right angles. Maybe it should have been a Steadicam day instead, and then it would have been a lot easier to get through the alley as well. But hey.
So in the short, when he goes around and Miss Bourne comes out, I always liked that in the short. I thought we did really well. I don't know how jammy it was. I kind of remember it being lucky, like the exact timings of how she comes out of the door and everything. It just worked really well. And I was initially a bit gutted that we couldn't make that work again, because this time we had more of an alleyway scenario with the little shed in the door, and we couldn't get a gimbal through it. Made the most out of what we had, and we played it slightly differently. So he used the shed to hide which I thought worked quite well. Like just as he gets over, like Jade turns her head, and it was cool to insinuate that that's where his bike might be and stuff. So much better garden. Garden was lovely. Art department did want to cut that garden in half, but don't know why.
I think there was a worry that it might feel too big for like their situation, or
wow, a real council estate house on a natural council estate in a real council estate garden might not feel like a real council estate garden.
God. We needed that length of garden anyway to be able to sell the comedy of that whole scene. Like the distance between Andy and Jade Adams and the two guys. Is what really makes that work, I think, and the travel that Jade has.
You enjoyed that day a lot, didn't you?
Sorry. Sorry.
She takes that punch like an absolute champion. I don't know if she'd done much stunt work before, but like, even frame by frame, you watch that uppercut. It's like I don't know, how she gets her whole face to just like go with the punch is just sensational. Through the window of Charlie Bourne's back garden, the inside there, that's actually Richie's kitchen.
Yeah.
Which we had to. That helps like double up locations, right? So we can keep it close and tight and save on travel and all that stuff. But it was a completely stripped house, which was a bit of a different challenge from some of the other interiors, because they were at least had like, you know, running water, you know, heating works. This was kind of minging inside, so the art department had to dress that, and I think they did a really good job.
It looks great in there.
Yeah, Charlie Bourne's house. It worked out in the end. That whole area has been demolished now. It's just gone, so you can't visit it. Again, we captured it before it was gone forever. Had some nice messages actually from people who lived on that street, saying that they really appreciated it and like it was nice. They loved it. They can go back and watch it and see it like that.
Yeah.
They'll never be able to do that again. So yeah. Thank you for watching this video. We are hopefully going to be putting these out on a fairly regular basis, so do keep an eye out on the socials. Please do consider buying or renting the film. You can find out all the information you need on the fencefilm.co.uk.
Work them in. Work them in. These jeans have been worn for a long time. You know these jeans very well. Oh dear.